to the first Tuesday of September and another edition of the Daily Deuce. I'm Gary Graves from just outside Louisville, Kentucky. And in Maryland, we have my good friend and esteemed colleague, John Webster. John, how are you doing today?
Hey, Gary, doing great. Wonderful Labor Day weekend. A lot of sports to watch and a lot of sports we'll talk about today. I guess we'll talk about college football a little bit, and we'll talk about Major League Baseball. We'll talk about the NFL, and then we'll finish up with a little tennis with Serena and Frances Tiafoe. But swinging it back to you, and before we do that, let's say hey to the traffic cop, the director, the editor, John Pitt.
John, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How you guys doing, man? We got 2 more days to the official start of the NFL season. Very excited.
Yes, indeed. I can't wait because after this first weekend of college football, from what I saw, from what we saw, it's going to be a heck of a season. And let's just get right into it, John. I guess there weren't too many surprises in terms of, I say, the top teams. Maybe the only one involves your Notre Dame Fighting Irish losing 21-10 at Ohio State. You weren't that surprised by the outcome because I think you were expecting it. But how did you think about that game in terms of Notre Dame? I mean, I think both of them showed first game jitters, but I feel like Notre Dame has something to feel good about holding Ohio State to 21 points on their home field. What do you think?
I will tell you, Gary, like I've told everybody else who has wanted to give me a moral victory, in South Bend, we don't get W's for moral victories. The game was lost. The better team won. Ohio State was the better team, no doubt about it. But what I will say, and let me be clear, I am happy for Marcus Freeman. I want him to do a great job. But what I will also say, in his start as a coach at Notre Dame with an 0-2 record, in both games, the Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma State, and this past Saturday against Ohio State. They had very good first halves. And then the second half, they went stale. The defense on Saturday for Notre Dame played a great game. A great game. Yes, they held Michigan in the Big House to 21 points. But you need the offense to come to the party too.
Hold it. Don't ever get the horseshoe confused with the Big House.
What did I say?
You said Michigan and the Big House. That's sacrilege to me as an Ohio State fan. Take it back. I take it back right now.
I'm so sorry. But the horseshoe, the horseshoe. I'm so sorry. And forgive me, our listeners and watchers. I erred. At Ohio State, we held them to 21 points, which for the defense, that's a great showing because Ohio State has one of the strongest offenses in the country. But the offense for Notre Dame has to come to the party, Gary. They have to.
No doubt about it.
And I can't think of the tight end's name right now. He was open a lot in the first half. He was getting mismatches, and you couldn't find the ball in the second half. They had 72 yards of total offense in the second half. And the defense, like I said, they wore out. They just got tired. They were on the field too much.
Yeah.
Let me be very clear to you and the people who are listening. I do not wish Marcus Freeman failure. I definitely want him to make it. But the in-game adjustments and the adjustments at halftime have to begin to show some type of direction and improvement. You had Oklahoma State by quite a few points at halftime. You had Ohio State. I think they were winning at halftime against Ohio State, if I'm not mistaken. And the final score was 21-10. I think it was 10-7 at halftime Notre Dame.
Yeah, yeah.
And they gave up 14 points, didn't score anything themselves. So it has to improve. It has to improve. This year will be fine. He'll be 8-4. He'll be 7-5. That'll be fine. He'll be back next year. But as he goes through this year and faces USC and faces North Carolina and faces Navy and faces Clemson, improvement has to be shown with in-game adjustments and halftime adjustments. That has to happen for them to move to the next level. I can't sit here and say, Gary, I'm happy with a 21-10 because I'm gonna be honest with you. I saw holes in your Ohio State team.
I did. I didn't even see the game, but just looking at some of the replays and some of the analysis, yeah. I mean, Ohio State is not invincible, and I think that was reflected in them dropping the spot to number 3 behind Georgia in the AP poll. That was, to me, that was a lackluster effort. Know how you feel about Notre Dame, but I feel just the same way about Ohio State. That's not going to get it done in the Big Ten. That's not going to get it done against that schedule. And it reminds me of the game last year where they got beat at home by Oregon. And that was a game where they played catch up pretty much the whole day. That was something I said then shouldn't happen. For them to only score 21 points, I don't want to hear any of this opening game jitters stuff. It's like you are at home. You have a built-in advantage playing in that place. And yeah, you're facing a Notre Dame team in transition in a sense. And what I want to remind you of, John, it's still just 2 games in. They've had a whole off season to get used to them, but they still, I think, are still trying to find themselves. By no stretch am I going to say this was a moral victory for Notre Dame, because, like you said, that's not acceptable in South Bend. But I do think you need to look at the big picture. 8-4 really shocks me at your prediction for this season, because I still see a team that's capable of winning 10 games. Very few teams really look that good in their first game. At least looked that good this weekend, maybe with the exception of Florida, which is now ranked, and they host Kentucky, which struggled on Saturday night. But fear not for Notre Dame. I think they'll get it together. And if they watch the film and if they make the adjustments, which I think they will, because Marcus Freeman is that kind of coach, and Notre Dame is that kind of program. If they're struggling another week or 2 weeks from now, then that might be cause for concern. But I do think in the long run, they will be in the playoff hunt, and I think they will be a better team. 4 losses, I just don't see it, even with that schedule.
Well, you can't really judge them this week because they're playing Marshall. And I'm sorry for those Marshall fans who are listening. That's just not here with this one, Gary. It's a double-edged sword. If you don't blow Marshall out, something's wrong. And if you blow Marshall out, that's what you're supposed to do. So they can't win for losing this week, but they need to. The offense has to catch up with the defense. I'll put it to you like that. The offense has to start catching up with the defense. And what better time for them to start catching up with the defense than this week in South Bend against Marshall?
Yeah, this is a get healthy game for Notre Dame. And again, that's why I say it's hard when, even for Notre Dame, that unless you really have a lot of veterans. I mean, and again, remember, I think you lost one of your assistant coaches to Louisville in the offseason. Lance Taylor, I think, who was coaching running backs, and he was helping out with the offense. This is a team again in transition, but if they struggle against the Marshall, which I don't think they will, because again, Marshall's a very good program. but that's the kind of program when you're Notre Dame that you get healthy against, that you tweak and you tweak in some respects, and then you kind of go all out and see how your guys respond in another sense. So, like I said, I'm not worried about Notre Dame. I'm really not. And you shouldn't either, because I still think this is a team that's capable of winning, 10, 11 games, even against that schedule. But, again, it's one game out of 12, and just get better the next week. Figure out what happened and then just get better the next week.
Well, they got to get better. Gary, I tell you, it really pained me to see it. But you know who else needs to get better real quick, Gary?
Who's that?
The Orioles. Because they were really sick yesterday.
Nice segue. But before we segue, I think I misspoke about something like you did about Michigan. Florida beat Utah. They didn't beat Oregon. If I said that earlier, and that was a surprise. And Florida, like I said, I think is a team to watch. But now let's move on to the pennant races. John, for me as a baseball fan, September is a great month because it's a pennant race month. This is a month, the rosters expand. You start to see, I'm gonna say, some separation or some divisions tightening. The Mets, that noose is tightening around their necks. They're only up by a game. In the American League East, the Yankees who looked invincible entering the All-Star break, are only up by 5 on Tampa Bay. The Orioles really took it on the chin yesterday, and I think they got swept, correct?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, by the Blue Jays, and that's the team that they're pursuing for the wild card. You run out of chances against the teams that you have to catch, but it is September 6th. There's still a lot of baseball to be played. And again, I think the Orioles, by hanging in here this long, even after trading away, one of their best players, one of their most devoted players, they're still in the hunt. They'll find it. I'm convinced. Like I said, this is to me, this is a repeat of 1989. As it turns out, they're chasing the Blue Jays again, as they did in '89 with Frank Robinson. But, this is a team, I think, that once they've got the confidence to do it. They just have to finish the job. They've got one heck of a closer. All they have to do is put the bats together and put the defense together, but they can't let another day happen like yesterday for sure.
Well, you start the day off 2.5 games back. You got a doubleheader. You got some energy going. You took 2 or 3 from Oakland. Then the first thing that happens, your pitcher who's supposed to throw the first game is feeling sick, so he doesn't throw the first game.
Mm-hmm.
So now you scramble to move a rookie up to the first game instead of the second game. He's okay, but then he starts getting rocked. Then you got to go to the bullpen, and you want to save the best of your bullpen for the second game. So you're bringing in all sorts of people in the bullpen. So they end up losing the first game 7-3. Okay. Jordan Lyles, who couldn't pitch the first game because he was ill, he's going to pitch the second game. He's warming up. Still doesn't feel it. Now we don't have him pitching the first or the second game. Now we're really trying to throw together a bullpen as a starting pitcher. You got a mess. You end up losing 8-4. Now you're 4.5 games back. You got 2 against Toronto left tonight and tomorrow. Basically, you need to win both of those as you go into your weekend series. I think Boston comes to town this weekend. And I look at the Orioles, and again, I said this to you a couple weeks ago. I feel bad because I'm a diehard Oriole fan, and I feel like I'm being greedy because I should just be happy. But now that they're there, I want so much more. I want a playoff spot for them. I see things like yesterday they brought in Brian Baker. Baker had a good inning, and then he brought him back for the 7th. My goodness, his neck really got used to doing like this. Go on. So, all over the place. So what was a 3-1 game ended up being a 7-1 game. And my thing with Brian Baker, and I told a friend of mine this yesterday, Brian Baker is a good pitcher who should be used in low leverage situations. What that means, put him in the 6th inning, 5th inning, or 4th inning. You can't bring him into the 7th inning, 8th inning, or 9th inning. What the Orioles are going to have to realize, 9th inning is all about Batista. The 8th inning is all about CNO Perez. And the 7th inning is about Dylan Tate. That's what they're going to have to realize. And that's what they're going to have to go with. You know, I remember Billy Martin, and he wasn't great with pitches, and I probably shouldn't be admiring what he did, but the Orioles at this point need to look at what they have, and that's what they need to use every night as much as they can. 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, those 3 are coming in. Kansas City, when they went to the World Series a couple of years back, when they knocked the Orioles off to get there, they had pitchers. If you didn't get to the Kansas City Royals by the 6th inning, you were done, because 7th, 8th, and 9th, they had pitchers coming right there. And that's what the Orioles need to do. 7th, 8th, and 9th should be Tate, Perez, Bautista every night. And then Baker, Saucer, Keegan Aiken, whoever, they can pitch the 6th inning, 5th inning, 4th inning. You know, that's what they need to do, you know, and it's I'm happy for them because nobody expects them to be where they are. But since they're there now, I want more. I love the kid Henderson, Gunnar Henderson. Love him. Great player. It's going to be great. Adley Rushman plays well. I like Mountcastle. They have a future. They got to get a couple more arms, Gary. They got to get a couple more pitchers, man. They have to. They have to.
I mean, you know, you've expanded the rosters now for the final month. You know, I mean, the minor league seasons are winding down. You know, you've got a whole lot of call-ups. If their farm system is as good as everybody says it is, then you know, that's when you start tapping into it and give these guys some time. You know, again, you got nothing to lose except more games this month, but you got nothing to lose by trying everybody, by throwing everybody out there in every possible situation. You know, if you're trying to catch the Blue Jays and trying to get in, even via the wild card route. So I'm not trying to sound like the eternal optimist today, because I am realistic about stuff. But you know, again, by Saturday, things could be a whole lot different, because that's just how September baseball is, John. And you know, we've seen, you know, historically, and of course, I always like to point to 1978 when the Red Sox blew that big lead and lost on to Bucky Bleep and Dent in a playoff game, which was probably to me the most exciting regular season that I think I can recall in my lifetime, just because. You know, I remember being a freshman at Maryland then, and how, you know, just learn, you know, meeting all these people from New York and Massachusetts, and then you couldn't get into the student union building because they were all crowded around the TV, you know, looking at that playoff game. That's what I think, you know, again, that just shows you how much baseball can really change in the month of September.
We'll see. We'll see.
But like I said, I wouldn't worry a bit. That's, you know, by Saturday we should know. Well, yeah, we should know a little bit more about the Orioles. Speaking of by Saturday, we will know whether the Bills beat the Rams, because NFL football starts up on Thursday night, John. It's what we've been waiting for. It's what John Pitt has been waiting for, right, John Pitt?
That's right. Yeah.
All right. And it doesn't wrap up Sunday night, but I mean, we've got a great one Sunday night with the Bucks and the Cowboys. And I guess what? Uh-oh. What did I tip off with you? Wait a minute. What nerve did I strike with that? I think that's going to be a good game.
I just, you know, I enjoyed the conversation with you, and I just look so forward to the Bucks and the Cowboys. Matter of fact, that's the game of the week. There's no better matchup on Sunday than that game Sunday night, the Bucks and the Cowboys. And
I don't know.
hey,
There's a lot of good matchups on Sunday. I mean, there's one right up the road here in Cincinnati between the Bengals and the Steelers, who I think will start the post Ben Roethlisberger chapter strong.
Trubisky.
Not this Sunday, but I do think they're quarterback wise. I think they're deeper than they think they are. I think they did well in obtaining Trubisky and then drafting Kenny Pickett. I forgot who the other quarterback is. Gosh,
Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph, yeah, who I think is the backup. So, I mean, they've got insurance, and in essence, they've got a future.
I think they named Pickett the number 2 today.
Okay, yeah, I have.
I'm not sure. Just got to check.
Yeah. But I think the Bucks and the Cowboys, that's the most intriguing matchup Sunday night, because really the Bucks have a lot of questions. Their offensive line, I don't know. It's a patchwork unit right now with the injuries that they've had. How well are they going to protect Tom Brady against Dallas's front? By the same token, how well is Dallas going to protect Dak Prescott against Tampa Bay's front?
I just want to ask one question, Gary.
What's that?
I just have to, hey, John Pitt, how will Dallas do against Tampa Bay on Sunday?
I don't know. We got a different team. We got a different wide receiving room. The Tyron Smith injury changes a lot. So we'll see what this guy Tyler Smith can do. But I say we come out of there with a win.
Will it be close, or will you blow them up?
It'll be close. I think it'll be similar to last year. It'll be close. But I think we barely get by Sunday.
Yeah.
So you're saying you start 1-0 heading into the next week against Cincinnati?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it'd be interesting. We'll see.
What about you?
That team right around the corner from my house, the Commanders, they open up here at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll see how that goes for them.
John, come on, man. Have a little bit more confidence. What did you take, a downer pill today or something? I never heard you so pessimistic. Well, where's your grand doggy, man? He needs to come in the room and cheer you up, because this is not the John Webster that I'm used to seeing.
Well, Gary, you and John both know I'm not a really big Commanders fan. Because
I know you like the Patriots of all teams.
I like the Patriots. I like the Ravens. That guy who is in charge of the team, Daniel Snyder, I just can't get with that. I just can't. So I'm not a big fan of the team. We'll see what happens. This is Rivera's 3rd year, and the 3rd year usually Rivera does a very good job. So I think they will have a good season. I don't want to say today where they're going to finish, because we have another segment of our NFC East preview coming up with the New York Giants, and then you and I will announce what we think the teams will finish 1st through 4th. But I think I will say this: the Commanders will have a decent season, in my opinion. I will say that. I will not say yet how many wins they will have, but I will say I think they will have a decent season.
Mm-hmm. I think they will too. Say whatever about Carson Wentz. I mean, again, I still think he's serviceable. You don't have to be. All you have to do is manage the game. You don't necessarily have to, be dominant. Especially, with the Commanders, all he has to do is manage They've lacked a game manager the last few years. They've had some promise with some quarterbacks, but they still don't have that game manager. In that system, I think he can be that guy. So, we'll see. But, again, when it comes to the Commanders, I always temper my expectations, because, and this is where I become kind of a pessimist, that I could see them going out on Sunday and also losing to Jacksonville. That's because I've seen it happen when was here. Remember, he decided to pass the ball against the Jaguars team that could not stop the run, and they got beat. So who knows what can happen on Sunday? I know we've gone through about 18 coaches since then, but that is still a team that is capable of losing games that they should win and lucking up and winning games that they should lose.
Fair statement.
Yeah. So let's see. I forgot the other thing that goes on in September. Well, it begins in August and is finishing up this week. The U.S. Open in New York. John, I've never been there. That's something that I plan on doing in retirement, even without Serena Williams on the scene. Maybe I'll see her and Venus and in their private box and such. But let's talk about probably the story of the week. And that's, what I'm going to say.
Frances Tiafoe.
Tiafoe, yeah, there we go, Tiafoe. And we were just talking about how to pronounce that. Might have pulled probably the biggest, not just the biggest upset, but might have written the best story of the U.S. Open. Not just because he beat Rafael Nadal and ended his Grand Slam, win streak, but because he made a statement for U.S. men's tennis, which hasn't been relevant, I want to say, John, in close to 20 years. I think Andy Roddick is the last American to do anything to win the U.S. Open and make a significant run. For all the attention that we have focused on Serena, Venus, Coco Gauff, Naomi Osaka, all of these players on the women's side, we haven't said boo on the men's side. And I think this is a good thing for tennis. Whether he wins the tournament or not isn't important. I mean, of course, I have kind of a personal interest in this because he's from Prince George's County and he's got a great backstory. But just the fact for U.S. men's tennis that it shows, yeah, we do have some diamonds in the rough.
All congratulations goes out to Frances Tiafoe. Knocked out Rafael Nadal, and Nadal is one of the best tennis players going on with Djokovic and Federer. He's absolutely one of the best. And Tiafoe has been practicing here in PG County, Prince George's County. Matter of fact, Pam Shriver gave recognition to I think it's the JJT, or it's the tennis center in College Park that they've been practicing at. She says the kids there love this guy. When he comes into play, everybody stops just to watch him. He was so happy. He was such a bowl of emotion. And it was just beautiful, man. I mean, you can't do anything but be happy for this kid, man. I mean, with beating Nadal and moving into the quarterfinals, it's great. And the thing also, they're also saying more Americans are starting to round back into these top positions with tennis. And it's been a while, especially on the men's side, since you saw some dominance like a Roddick or a Sampras. So it's really good that you're starting to see some players from the United States and in particular Prince George's County be noticed.
And in particular in the Black community, with where, I mean, it's there, but other than maybe a player here and there, I mean, a James Blake here and there, we have not had anybody that has really kind of come on the scene like that in a long time, maybe since James Blake. So, again, all our people need to see is someone that looks like them, advance and succeed. And I think that has kind of a trickle-down effect. I saw a story yesterday or over the weekend about the impact of Arthur Ashe, the stadium that's named for him there at the U.S. Open. And they talked with his widow, Jean, about his impact and the things that he tried to do socially, politically, as well as athletically. But the main thing for him by his success is that it inspired a generation of players to come up. you know, again, the tennis circuit, you know, if anybody that saw King Richard, you know, got an idea of what it's like. I mean, it is a grind to get through that junior circuit, but yeah, Teofilo, he showed over the weekend that he can do it. And I'm probably butchering his name, and that's probably because I need to put my glasses back on, and it's Tiafo. I keep thinking Garoppolo, but anyway. But I think this can have a positive effect no matter how much farther he goes in the field.
Agreed, man. Agreed. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it like I enjoy sports every week, and enjoy it even more this week.
Yeah. Well, you know, John, we've got another edition coming up soon, analyzing the NFL NFC East division. This time we're going to talk about those New York Giants and where they're going to finish. And then, of course, like you said, we'll make our predictions on the season. So I'm not going to say goodbye. I'm just going to say till we meet again, which will be very, very soon. Everybody, tell your friends, tell your family. We're on Facebook. Watch us on YouTube, but just watch us. Come on back, because we're going to talk.
Hey, everybody, take care. Have a good week in sports. NFL starting Thursday. Check it out. And if you're a Cowboys fan like John Pitt, watch them on Sunday night and see what they do against Tampa Bay. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Out.